SNESdrunk.
4 titles for the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color were recently brought over to Nintendo Switch Online. You got Gradius Interstellar Assault, Kirby Star Stacker, Survival Kids, which is actually a very good game, and I did a video on that one a long while back, and The Sword of Hope, made by Kemco and released in June 1991. I had never heard of this game, never saw it for sale, and I don't remember seeing it in Nintendo Power, so I went into this game brand spanking new. You fire up the game and you get some text laying out the story, saying the king has been possessed by an evil dragon. His people try to rebel and get turned into trees for their trouble. You play as the king's son Theo, tasked with recovering the Sword of Hope to slay the dragon. But before your quest begins, you got Santa Claus telling you to move out and get a job before giving you the big "You are the chosen one" speech. Then, to give you an example of the enemy's power that you're faced with defeating, he says that 3 magicians came up with the brilliant idea of sending you the keys to the enemy's castle by carrier pigeon, which of course failed. I guess the evil guy in this game is Randy Johnson. But really, you're telling me I've got to go find this Sword of Hope to defeat the darkness, and my only help is from 3 magic idiots and some pigeons? Yeah, not a lot of confidence to start out. Sword of Hope is a dungeon-crawling RPG, and a very bare-bones one, as you might expect. There's something kind of satisfying about how simple the layout is here. Moving around is pretty self-explanatory, and there's your usual RPG stuff like magic, weapons, armor, items, and experience points. But there's also point-and-click adventure stuff here too, like being able to look, open, use, or hit something, the same as you would in a game like Shadowgate for NES, which shares the same developer as Sword of Hope in Kemco. So yeah, this is one of those games where if you get stuck and you don't know what to do, you gotta look or open or use or whatever on each screen. Even in seemingly innocuous moments like this, you can still look around to hear some of the trees talking to you. What, am I playing as Bob Ross? If you want to be painfully objective about Sword of Hope, then you'll find the gameplay to be tedious at best and boring at worst and a big bag of in between. It's pretty clear right away that Sword of Hope firmly remains a product of its time, but hey, if I were 9 years old and I had this game when it came out, I would have eaten this up big time. I had all the time in the world and I was sick of playing Tetris and Bart vs. the Juggernaut and Roger Clemens MVP baseball, so I definitely would have taken a liking to Sword of Hope, even if there is something hilariously pathetic about defeating moths for exactly 1 gold and 1 experience point. But thankfully, Sword of Hope takes place in one of those nonsense worlds, where moths do just as much damage as flaming skulls. You've also got some truly strange-looking enemies like this thing here, which looks like Jabba the Hutt is wearing a mask of animal from the Muppets. Trees and statues come to life, and there's even funny moments like this, where this dude recognizes you as the guy looking for the Sword of Hope and then says, "Damn dude, you gotta be pretty strong to do that, so let's test your courage by shoving you down a pit into a cave so you can go get me a moon fragment." The hell is that, man? I should also point out that one benefit of having such a simple game is that it doesn't take an outrageously long password to save everything, including experience points and gold. While a battery save would have been ideal, I would have learned to live with this as a kid just fine. And that's what I keep going back to with Sword of Hope, just the feeling that I would have really enjoyed this back then. I'd call it a perfectly cromulent dungeon crawler for a handheld for 1991. But playing it today, it is a long, long grind of fighting random enemies, getting lost, drawing your own map, getting lost again, getting frustrated and looking up a map online, and repeating that another dozen times until you finish the game. If that sounds like your jam, then you'll like Sword of Hope. Really, it's not a bad game at all. It's pretty well made, all considered. It's just very outdated, so keep that in mind if you want to dive into this one. I'd only recommend Sword of Hope as a curiosity. Alright, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.